In this video, we're going to look at factorising quadratics, but slightly more complex quadratics than in the previous video. So if you're not confident with how to factorise the quadratics from the previous video, you need to go back and re-watch it before you continue with this one. So we're going to look at quadratics like 2x squared plus 5x plus 3 in this video. Now the difference here is all the other quadratics we looked at in the previous video had no number multiplying the x squared, but here we have a 2. And this makes a bit of a difference to what we have to do. We still factorise into two brackets, but this time, rather than x times x to get x squared, we need something to multiply to give us 2x squared. So we need a 2x in one bracket and an x in the other to give us the 2x squared. Now the two numbers remaining will still multiply to give us 3, but they don't just add to give us the plus 5, because now we have this 2 that's with the x. So let's consider the numbers that multiply to make 3. Well, there's only one pair. It's 1 and 3. So 1 and 3 must be the numbers in the brackets, but we need to know which way round they go, and it makes a difference in this case. If we put the 3 in this bracket here and the 1 in here, and we know we've got plus plus, then when we were to expand this, we would get 3x and 2x, which gives us the 5x we want. So this one is correct. If, however, we were to have put in the other way round, if we were to have made it plus 1 and plus 3, this time we would have got x plus 6x, which would give us 7x. So in these examples, the order in which the numbers go is important. The number that goes with the 2x has to be the 3, and the number that goes with just the x has to be the 1. So let's have a look at a couple more examples of quadratics like this. So we're going to look at now 3x squared minus 7x minus 6. Once again, it's a quadratic, so we know it's going into two pairs of brackets. But this time we have a 3x squared, so we need a 3x in the front of one bracket and an x in the front of the other. We know the two numbers multiply to give minus 6. So we either have 1 and minus 6, minus 1 and 6, 2 and minus 3, or minus 2 and 3. We need two of these to combine to give us minus 7 x's, but that includes when one of them is multiplied by 3. So if we chose the 1 and the minus 6, we'd could have 3 times 1 minus 6. Well, that doesn't work. We could have 3 times minus 1 plus 6. Well, that doesn't work either. Or we could have had 3 times minus 6 plus 1. Well, that gives us minus 18, minus 17 doesn't work. We could have had 3 times 6 minus 1, which gives us 17, which doesn't work. So minus 1 and 6, or 1 and minus 6 do not work. So let's now consider 2 and 3. We had 3 times 2 minus 3. We'd get 6 minus 3 is 3, so that one doesn't work. If we had 3 times minus 3 plus 2, that gives us minus 9 plus 2. That is equal to minus 7. So that's the one we're going to want. And in that one, we had the 3 times the minus 3. So to get 3 times minus 3, we need the minus 3 to be in the other bracket. Because when we expand, we do 3x times minus 3. That means the plus 2 must go in this bracket here. Now we can do a quick check. We can see we get 3x squared from there. We get minus 9x squared, 9x, sorry, plus 2x is minus 7x, minus 6, which is what we want the expression to be when we expand these brackets. So we know we've got the correct factorization here. Let's look at one last example, which is going to be 3x squared minus 13x plus 12. Once again, we know we've got two brackets, and we've got a 3x squared at the beginning, so we have a 3x and an x at the beginning of the brackets. Now we need pairs that multiply to make plus 12, but since we have a negative sign here, we know they both have to be negative. So it could be minus 1 and minus 12, minus 2 and minus 6, or minus 3 and minus 4. So now we consider each option. We've got to have 3 times by one of them plus the other. So 3 times by minus 1 minus 12 is equal to minus 3 minus 12 is minus 15, so that one's not right. We can safely not check 3 times minus 12 because we know that's going to give us minus 36, which is a long way away from the minus 13 that we want. So let's try the next one now. 3 times minus 2 minus 6, well, that's minus 6 minus 6 is minus 12, close but not quite. You could have 3 times by minus 6 and then minus 2, well, that's minus 18 minus 2 is minus 20, so that one's not right. 3 times minus 3 minus 4, 3 times minus 3 is minus 9, minus 4 is minus 13. So this is the one that we're looking for. So we need to do 3 times minus 3. So we need the minus 3 to be in the bracket that doesn't have the 3x. And then minus 4 needs to go in the bracket with the 3x. We now check. We get 3x squared minus 9x minus 4x gives minus 13x, and then plus 12, which is the quadratic expression that we started with. So if we have some number multiplying x squared, we have to remember that we're not just going to have x in the front of each bracket. We're going to have a number with one of the x's. We can still use the number by itself at the end to work out the possible pairs of numbers, but we have to check them all until we find one that works for the quadratic we have.